You can add borders and colors to a cell or a range of cells for various reasons. One is that you may want to print off the borders because what you're looking at here is the grid. It doesn't print. How do you know? Well, you can come up here, click on the File tab, go down to Print, and what you see over here in the preview is what's going to come out of your printer. I don't see any borders, but again, it's not a border, it's actually the grid lines. Let's click on the back arrow and come up here and click on the View tab, and in the Show group, that's what's selected by default. When I uncheck it, well, you can kind of get an idea. Just click here and go, I think I'm in cell C3, and this might be cell C2. Oops, I'm in cell C1. You see the grid lines help me when I'm designing my spreadsheet here. So let me go ahead and check that. And again, because it doesn't print, if you want to actually have borders to make it look organized when you print it off, then go ahead and select a range of cells. Like I'm going to go ahead and select H5 through J5, which by the way, when it comes to selections, if it's a big range and you don't want to click and drag and drag and drag because it's a drag, and plus Excel gets excited and it shoots off in a frenzy over to the far right column XYZ, then come up here in the name box and you can just type in the range and it'll automatically go right to it without having you to click and drag and drag and drag. And again, it's H5 colon, which means through, then J5, hit enter, and there we go. Sweet. Okay, to go ahead and add borders to either underneath the range that I have selected or on the sides or on the top or in between the cells, come up here and click on the Home tab, go to the font group, and there's the bottom border by default, the more commonly used border to add a bottom to whatever cell or range of cells you have selected, or you can click on the drop down arrow and get a lot of other options. So if you choose bottom border and click off, there you go. Each cell has a line or a bottom border, and because they're all together it looks like one continuous border, which is nice. You can also go ahead and select the range and say, let's add a border to the right of the selection, and then when I click off, there it is on the right. And then to get rid of it, well, there are a couple ways you can get rid of these borders. One is to go ahead and select the entire range, click on the drop down arrow and say no border, that's fine. Or if it's just that one little border to the far right here of the cell J5, then you can go ahead and say erase a border. You see my little eraser there. When I click on it, it gets rid of it. And then to get rid of the eraser, just hit the escape key on the keyboard and you're back to your white cross or black four-way arrow depending upon where you're moving your mouse. Let's see, let's come up here and click on the drop down arrow. You got a thick box border, it just goes around the entire selection, or you can do all borders and click off, and there you go. From what I have selected here, it added the border around each cell, top, bottom, left, right, top, bottom, left, right, and so on. And then if I want to customize this and say, okay, I like how there's a border to offset the labels. Now I want to go ahead and add a border all the way around the data below the column labels. Then go ahead and select the range down below, and we want to add a border to the left, bottom, and right. So come up here, click on the drop down arrow, go left, then come back up here, then go right, and then go bottom. No, you can actually come down here and go to more borders. And what it does on the border tab is gives you a preview window and it shows you the border that's currently being applied to what you have selected. Let me go ahead and click and drag the title bar so I can move the window over to the right. And as you recall, we added a border around the labels, and you've got the bottom border, which is the top border for the selected range that I have here, and that's why you can see that for the range we got a top border. And so all I have to do is go ahead and click inside the preview window to add another border. And you can see over here the style, the default. I don't know if you can see that, it's really tiny. It's got a bunch of little tiny dots around it. I'm going to add a border to the left-hand side and add a border to the bottom. You can add borders in between. And it's not just between, like in the middle here, and cuts the range in half. It'll actually add it to every single cell here. And then to the right, and then click Okie dokie, and you can see how it adds lines after lines. We don't have the vertical lines, we just have the horizontal. So let's go ahead and select that range again, come back up here, click on the drop down arrow, go to more borders, and get rid of that. Whoops, try to click right on it. Okay, let's click over here to get rid of it. Okay, so now we have it just going around the outside of the data range that we have selected. And by the way, if you want to really kind of have some fun with this, you can click on it to get rid of a border, choose another border style, and then click on that. And okay, it doesn't look all that great because you've got a thin line here, you got a thin line, then a big line. Well, don't buy yet because you can actually change the color. So if I get rid of that and go from automatic, the default black, and choose red, And then I can do a thick red border there, and I go down here, let's do orange, down below. In fact, then we just change that, change the color. You see what I'm getting at? You can just go nuts on this. I just want to show you the different ways you can go ahead and do this. Now you can do it within the preview window here, or you can actually use one of these buttons here to add or remove a line. You see the one here? It's got a line going up the middle. Click on it to add it, click on it to remove it. That is, as you just saw when I tried to remove a border here, right there after I added it and try to click on it, but it added it down below, and it's just like, oh, this is too much. Just go ahead and use the buttons to get rid of them. And that works, okay? And then we can go ahead and click Okie dokie, click off, and ooh, conceptual nightmare. All right, let's go ahead and click and drag to reselect the range, and then let me show you how you can add color in the cell range you have selected. So let's come up here, click on the drop down arrow, go to more borders, click on the fill tab. And for the range of data here, we can do something kind of light. Let's do a pastel. Ooh, see down below in the sample, that looks nice. You can also do a pattern color. If you want to choose a pattern, well, there's the pattern styles down below. Then come up here and choose a pattern color, but I'm not going to do that. I'll leave that up to you. I don't want to make it look worse than it already is. And then click Okie dokie, and then we can come up here to offset that. Column titles bold. And then for fill color, you don't have to click on the drop down arrow to go to more borders. To go to the fill tab, you can close out of that, just click on the bucket right here, fill color, and choose something there. And we'll do something light green. Select it, click off, and well, if it wasn't for the fact that my borders look a little bit funny, I think it looks pretty good. And then if you like this here, and you've got the same mini data range down below, where you've got 3 columns and, well, this same amount of rows, you can actually go ahead and copy the formatting here and paste it down below. Just go ahead and click and drag, select it, right click the selection, go to copy, come down here and right click, and you get the paste options. You just want to do the formatting, and you can see the paintbrush here, which just pastes the formatting, not the data in the cells there. So select it, click off, and there you go. And then to get rid of the marching ants, hit the escape key so it's not in selection mode. And then to clean all this up, lickety split, go ahead and click and drag to select the range. Come up here on the Home tab to the Editing group, click on the drop down arrow and say Clear Formats. Click off, gets rid of all the formatting, the borders, the lines. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.